Hey, Edith.
Yes. What, Christy?
What kind of vegetable do you get when an elephant walks through your garden?
A squash.
Very good. Nice. That's good.
I guessed that, folks. I did not know she was going to tell that
That's
joke.
good.
I guess.
Hi, I'm Christy.
And I'm Edith. We're backyard gardeners in Colorado.
And neighbors.
And friends. These days, gardening is becoming very popular.
We're not experts. We just learned a lot about gardening from the mistakes we made along the way.
So welcome to Upside Down Tulips, a fun podcast that celebrates gardening gone wrong.
Upside Down Tulips.
Hey, Christy.
Hello, Edith.
Hello, Christy.
Hello, gardeners everywhere.
Hello, listeners, even if you don't garden. Hello, thank you for listening.
It's time for Upside Down Tulips.
Da, 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 da.
This week we're talking about surprises and frustrations in the garden.
Yeah, life is never predictable or boring when you have a garden. Right?
That's so true.
It's so true.
There's always a surprise, and there's always something that makes you just kind of go, ding, nabbit.
Yep. So, Christy, I have a kind of a funny thing that happened to me at the post office this week.
What?
So I go there, and there's a long line, as there always is now. And ahead of me were a young couple in their 20s with a huge box. And next to them was the greeting cards. You know how they sell greeting cards now.
Uh-huh.
And the guy picked the card. It was a Father's Day card. And he goes, oh, my gosh, my dad would love this card. And his girlfriend said, well, why don't you get it and send it to him? And he goes, I can't. I don't have a stamp. And she said, she goes, you are literally in a post office right now.
You could just get
And he said, well, they don't sell you just one.
They don't?
Of course they do.
Yeah, of course they do.
I said to the guy, well, yeah, they do.
Yeah. Did
It's
he
like-
buy just, yeah.
You know, you go to get a Big Mac, they go, you can't have just one.
Right.
You know?
Right.
What kind of a business would that be? So
That reminds me of the time that I was in London, and me and my handsome and handy husband were by taking photos everywhere, and we were by Parliament, and my husband was there taking pictures of Big Ben,
yeah.
and he must have been there for like a half an hour taking pictures, and I just was like sitting on the grass reading the tourist book. And after about 30 minutes, he turned to me and said, I'm getting kind of hungry. What time is it?
You are literally standing by Big Ben.
Yeah, probably the most famous clock
In the world.
in the world. Oh my
Oh, that's
goodness.
great.
That's great. Hey, what's
Yeah.
going on in your garden, Edith?
My peas are almost ready.
Hey,
Yeah,
that's
they got
nice.
pods, and I bet in a day or so that I will have peas. I harvested my garlic scapes.
Mm.
Folks, if you don't know what a garlic scape is, it is the top of a garlic once it gets into a curlicue, and then it will have a little pod on it where the seeds are developing. You want to take them off so the garlic grows bigger, and you can harvest them and you can eat them.
And they
You can-
taste like garlic. Yeah, they taste great.
Yeah.
Yeah, my garlic is all fallen over, so
Already?
yeah.
Oh my, wow.
Yeah, I don't know. What's going on
Wow.
over there? Good. What else?
Something ate one of my broccoli, and
Oh,
I also had a double cabbage collapse. Seriously. I had these 3 cabbage plants, and they're
Uh-huh.
still little. I winter sowed them, and I go out there, and one of them had just collapsed, like he was in pieces.
oh my goodness.
And then I had 2 together. And remember you said that they will fight for dominance?
yeah.
The one, you were absolutely right. The one got bigger. The other one literally collapsed. Just
Right.
collapsed.
Yeah. It's like the Game of Thrones out there.
It is. It is, man. My curry squash still looks terrible.
But it's alive.
But it's alive.
Well-
It's tiny and
Alive is good.
terrible. Yeah.
Alive is terrible.
I thought that my cucumber was not going to make it, but now he's thriving. So sometimes it just takes some patience to let them come to.
And I also think we had a cold spring, and cucumbers don't like the cold.
Oh,
Because I had
that's
some
true.
cucumbers that didn't come up, so I just replanted some.
Oh my gosh, so did I. Yeah. I thought all of a sudden I couldn't garden anymore, like nothing was coming up. But yeah, so that is what's going on in my garden.
Hey, can I ask you, how's your peach tree doing?
Great. It's not going to have as many peaches as last year. Last year was a bumper crop because I think the year before we had a frost. So then the year after that, a tree will sometimes double its fruit output.
Okay.
But I'm going to get some peaches.
Oh, good.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Well, I hope you have a couple extra.
I hope I do too.
Edith, I enjoyed your peaches all winter long.
Oh, that's so great.
Because I chopped them up and I put them in the freezer and I used them in smoothies and they were just fantastic.
I do that too. That's a good thing to do. What about your garden?
Well, for flower wise, now is rose time. So the roses are just a blooming, so beautiful. Just love them. They're just coming in waves now, and it's a really good rose year. Also, what's blooming is my yarrow is blooming. And Edith, can you believe this? That I bought yarrow this year?
No, you gave it away for so much of it.
I know, and for some reason, all my yarrow just died. And it just kind of proves to you that maybe plants don't last forever.
Yeah.
And I was getting them from a friend, but she had very old yarrow that I was taking. So I just went, you know what? Forget it. I bought 3 yarrow plants because I like the yellow contrast with other things that are blooming this time.
I never even thought of that when you get a plant from another garden, you don't even know how old it is. I never thought of that.
Yeah.
Christy.
So my yarrow is blooming and the Jupiter's beard is all in full bloom.
Beautiful.
On all those, hummingbird moths are all over it. So these are those weird bugs that look like
they're Egyptian or something.
Yeah,
don't they?
Do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they have their black. You'll have a little black and white stripe on them, and they look like hummingbirds, but they're really kind of a moth.
Yeah.
And they're also called sphinx moths or hummingbird moths.
One of them hit me in the eyeball once, so I'm not a fan.
I don't like anything that hits me in the eyeball, much less a bug. That's gross.
Hey, do you take off spent roses or do you just leave them?
The kind of roses that I have, they're just going to be, they just bloom and then they're done.
And then do they go and have a rose hip?
Yeah, they can. Yeah.
And do you harvest the rose hips?
So, I never have. I should though, shouldn't I?
Yeah. Well, they're full of vitamin C, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't either, and I should too.
Well, if anybody out there does that, will you write us and tell us how to do that?
Yeah,
figure it out.
We want to have rosehip tea.
My lavender is blooming, and I had another neighbor who said, "Ooh, I had a friend who was looking for lavender. Can I have her contact you so she can have some of your lavender?" Because she wanted, the buds. And I just thought, you know what, Edith? There are 2 things I don't give away: lavender and tomatoes. Right? Yeah, I have a lot of tomatoes that I'm giving them away. So I'm hoarding all my beautiful lavender blossoms. And I'm still planting annuals, Edith.
Really? In this heat? It's been 100 degrees.
I don't know. I just did it anyway. So I went out and I've been planting marigolds and just direct sowing.
You were direct sowing. Okay.
Zinnia. I did winter sow some sunflowers and they're coming up. So I still have about like 8 or so milk jugs I got to get out into the ground from winter sowing. And friends, that's just a method of seed starting outside in milk jugs that we start in January, but you can still do it in the summer, but we still call it winter sowing for some bizarre reason. I got my cages on my tomatoes.
You did?
Yeah.
Me too.
And I cleaned them up like a good 6 inches or so. So I took off the lower leaves. I hadn't done that yet. I might have been too late. I don't know. We'll see. And I have a lot of soil pep. What's that called?
It is called soil pep.
Soil pep. So it's a really fine mulch to protect them in the heat.
And it also, it can go into the soil. It will degrade very quickly into the soil, fertilizing your soil.
I like that because I was getting a larger mulch. And then that stuff was just like hanging out there for ever. So.
Yeah. Listen, I don't think it's too late to take those bottom leaves off.
Good, that's what I did. Yeah, I think my plants were just too little. So my plants are a little bigger now. I would say they're kind of like knee high.
Oh, that's nice. That's really good.
Yeah. And they look pretty. They look pretty happy. Look very green. Also, I had to replace some peppers.
So did I.
Because something just cut it off at the ground.
I had one do that, and I had another. Just the heat. They love the heat, but apparently I didn't water it in time. It was tiny.
Oh, sure.
So I lost.
Oh, yeah. And I'm harvesting so much lettuce right now.
Yeah, me too.
That romaine, I planted romaine for the first time. Oh my gosh, I just love it.
Oh, good.
And it's doing really well in the heat, Edith.
Yeah, it does better than a lot of the like black-seeded Simpson and that kind of really leafy, thin lettuce. Yeah. You know what I forgot to tell you? I bought some bare root raspberries. They look exactly like sticks. You think to yourself, I'm planting sticks. That's all I'm doing.
Somebody has a great idea. Making a lot of money.
Make a lot of money for selling me sticks.
Like the pet rock person.
Yes. So I really thought, well, this is not happening. And then today, literally overnight, they sprouted a leaf. Overnight.
Wow. A garden surprise.
Yeah. So that was really fascinating, and I'm happy about that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm still planting green beans. I did another round of planting green beans.
Oh, good.
And I planted another round of radishes, just like Edith, a couple days ago, and they have come up. Man, those radishes come up quick.
They do indeed.
So we'll see if the heat will take over. But I really am into this lawn chair lettuce stuff. So friends, if you recall that I put a lawn chair over my lettuce and I'm able to shade it during the heat of the summer and keep my lettuce for a good long time. I still have lots of lettuce out there, and it's been in the 90s pretty consistently. So I might try that with my radish. And so I think by the end of the year, I'm just going to have just a bunch of chairs in my garden. It's going to look weird.
It's going to look like a book club out there.
Yeah, that's right. Well, friends, if there are terms that you don't understand or definitions, please go to our website at upsidedowntulips.com and check out the informative and ever humorous Upside Down Dictionary.
You can also click on the link in our show notes, and we have fun stuff on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest.
And we have a brand new pod play. One of our fun, original, creative short plays or fake commercials that we have in Upside Down Tulips. This one, oh man, it is so good. Written by Edith, starring Josh Hartwell and Jim Hunt. And what are we calling this one, Edith?
Don Quixote. Or we could call it a different type of Dulcinea.
Oh, I like that too.
You like that?
Yeah. Once upon a time, a really long time ago, a man called Don Quixote, along with his long-suffering squire, Sancho Panza, began a noble knight's quest, searching for the Lady Dulcinea.
Giddy up, Rocinante! Go! Gallop! Canter! Run! To Dulcinea, to my pure love. Sancho Panza, try to keep up. Fly, Rocinante, fly!
We are keeping up. My faithful donkey, Dapple, and I are right behind you.
Run, sturdy steed, more speed, destrier, on to find Dulcinea.
Don Quixote, your horse, Rocinante, is not a destrier. She's not even close to being a knight's war steed. She is an old farm horse.
Faithful squire, Sancho, you know nothing.
I know I'm hungry. I know we haven't eaten in days. Even your horse, Rocinante, is hungry. No wonder she's so slow.
Slow? My steed is not slow. Lo, behold, my hair flies behind me in the wind.
I can't really behold your hair as you're wearing a water bowl you stole from a barber. It totally covers your hair.
It's not a water bowl, it's the mythic Mombrino's helmet. Foolish Sancho. Sancho, faithful squire, get up!
I have fallen and I can't get up. I'm weak from hunger.
When one has a quest, one does not let hunger get in the way. Sancho, you are eating something. What are you eating? What is your donkey eating? Rocinante is eating apples, fallen apples. Oh, Rocinante, save some for me.
Don Quixote, look. Carrots, tomatoes, apples. I have had the great fortune to faint right next to someone's garden. Eat, Don Quixote. There's so much here.
Lo, such a bounty. Let me fill my saddlebags.
What do you think you're doing?
Oh, greetings of the day. Peasant, farmer, woman. We starve, and thought to take some of the windfall from your farm.
You're pulling carrots out of the ground and tomatoes off my plants. That is not a windfall. A windfall is something that falls off a plant in the wind, like the apples.
Oh, harsh, ungenerous peasant farmer.
No, Don Quixote. Do you not see? It is Dulcinea who grows food.
What?
What?
She is Dulcinea. She wears a scarf to cover her crown.
My name is Aldonza Lorenzo.
Sancho Panza, you speak true. We have found my beautiful Dulcinea. Oh, paragon of womanhood. Oh, Virginius, virtuous, scarf-wearing Mysteriad. Oh, holy mountain of maidenhood, forgive us, enchanting princess.
I'm really not a princess. I'm just a gardener.
And so modest. Don Quixote, your quest is over. You have found Dulcinea. May we stay with you a while?
Okay. If you'd like to help me work the farm, I'll give you supper. And I've got hay for your animals.
Come, Sancho. Our quest is over. We have found Dulcinea, a princess who works the land, who grows food, who shares her food.
So much talking. Come on, then. There's cows to be milked and eggs to be collected.
And so it was that Don Quixote and Sancho Panza became gardeners and found the answer to their quest and lived happily ever after. Happy gardening, everybody. Edith, do you like surprises?
Yeah, sometimes I do.
Sometimes.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever had a surprise birthday party?
I threw one once.
Oh, yeah? How'd it go?
It went really well.
I had one once, and I was somebody threw me a surprise birthday party, and I was so surprised I cried.
Oh.
And I think it freaked everybody out. But surprises in the garden are usually pretty welcome.
Yeah, they're usually a really good thing. You know, I had a surprise the other day in the garden.
Yeah?
Baker Seeds sent me, when you order from them, they send you a free packet of something, their choice. And they sent me wasabi radishes.
Ooh.
So I planted them, completely forgot about them.
Uh-huh.
Like never watered them. I never did anything. I forgot about them. And I looked the other day and I see that they're like, the leafage is a foot high, 18 inches high. And I went over and Christy, I had 4 wasabi radishes. They are bigger than a golf ball, smaller than a baseball, and so hot.
And they're not like big when a radish will get too big and it gets all woody. It's
no,
like
it wasn't
big,
woody. Right.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a wonderful surprise.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
It's a good surprise.
Oh, that would be good on a salad or a sandwich.
I have it because I'm German. I have it on liverwurst.
Good.
Delicious.
Good. Oh, excellent. Well, I had one of my favorite garden surprises that happened. I had my climbing roses out there. And one of my climbing roses is a little smaller than the others, but it's a deep, deep red. So it's super pretty, and I really love it. In fact, it's blooming right now.
Uh-huh.
And about 10 years ago, I noticed that there was another rose bush next to it that it was blooming, and it was an orangey, pinky, peachy, reddish color. And I went, oh my gosh, that's called a Joseph's coat. A coat of many colors.
Oh my.
Because it'll change as it blooms, right? I thought, I didn't know I had a Joseph's coat. And there it was, bloomed really beautifully. And then I never saw it again.
Oh, that's a surprise and a frustration in the same episode.
Except for Edith.
Yeah.
I was out yesterday.
It's back?
It's back!
Oh, jeez.
So next to this bright red climbing rose is another rose bush, which is the Joseph's coat. It has three beautiful blooms on it. So it's
Yeah.
a tiny little thing.
Wow.
I don't know why it disappeared and came back. It's like the brigadoon of roses, I guess, but
Wow.
beautiful surprise. And I thought that was so appropriate because we're talking about surprises in the garden.
Well, I have a rose surprise as well. You know,
Yeah.
like 10 years ago, somebody gave me a miniature little rose bush. Like, how high is this? Like 6 inches high?
Uh-huh.
Christy, it is now above my knees. And I'm 10 feet tall, so you can imagine.
You are 10. People
10
don't
feet
realize how tall you are.
No.
That you
'cause
are
I-
actually
you know why?
10 feet
Because
tall.
I slouch. I should stop slouching.
Yeah, you need better posture.
I need
That's a
better
good
posture.
point, yeah.
But anyway, it's so big, and it is the most vibrant orange, beautiful. It's almost neon.
Oh, wow.
It's so pretty. And I was so surprised. I keep thinking, well, it's just not going to get any bigger, but every year it gets a little bit bigger.
Maybe it goes back to what you said before, Edith, is that plants want to live.
Yeah.
That nature wants to grow no matter
Yeah.
how much we try to kill stuff.
Right.
And then it rewards us with these nice surprises.
Yeah.
Well, I have an iris surprise.
Iris. Ooh, I love
Yeah.
iris.
And this kind of shows the hardiness of an iris because I was dividing iris
Yeah.
and I like them to be all around. I'm trying to get them to go all around the edges of my garden so that when they're done, so they can be blooming in front of them. But until then, they're this beautiful ring of iris all around my yard.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, where should I put them? Where should I put these? Where should I put these? And I was placing them and planting, placing and planting. And it was a lot of work and it was getting cold out. And I stopped and I didn't get the last section done. And then, you know how it goes, Edith. You went, well, I'll get back to it. And I
Yeah.
never did.
Yeah.
And then it wintered. So these iris, Edith, just sat on the ground.
You mean the bulbs themselves just sat on
Right.
the top of the ground?
Yeah, the rhizomes,
Yeah.
right? So they just sat on the ground all winter. And guess what? They took root
Oh,
and they are still
Wow.
there to this day. I never planted them.
wow.
Iris. That was a good surprise.
That's a wonderful surprise. Man, nature really finds a way. You're right.
Mhm.
It really, really finds a way. That's great. Oh, speaking of things you divide, you know, every year I harvest my leek. In fact, I've already harvested leek this year because it's an early plant.
Mm-hmm.
And every year I think, well, I'm harvesting it. It won't come back. It comes back every single year for decades
Wow.
in the same place.
And you don't let it go to seed?
No.
So where's
You,
it?
you know what I think happens? It always has one bulb and then it is circled around by little tiny bulbs,
Yeah.
which must come off when I
Oh.
harvest, and it replants itself.
Nice. What do you do with leek? You
Oh.
you put it in soup and stuff?
Yeah, like vichy, how do you say it? Vichyssoise?
Vichyssoise?
It's so delicious. Cold
Mhm.
potato and leek soup.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes if you have if you want less of an onion flavor, but still you want that tang, you use leek. It's a more gentle flavor. I love leek. You can make
Yeah.
leek pie.
I find leek also really good in quiche.
Leek pie. Yes.
Oh, yes. That's what you mean.
Yes.
Is that a leek pie and egg pie? Or just
No,
an,
that's
an-
not what
an
I
onion
meant.
pie?
Actually, I thought
like
I
a
would-
tart. Like an onion tart.
like an onion tart.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking
Yes.
about. Well, that's a good. I'd need to harvest my leek because I see it. And this was leek I planted last August, Edith.
Wow.
And
wow.
and it is. And you have to tell me if it's too late. Maybe you'll come out in the garden afterwards and tell me if it's too late because I could see like it's maybe starting to flower. I go, I better pull that.
Oh,
do something
yeah.
with it.
It's starting to flower. Definitely get it out of there. I can tell you that right now. Yeah.
I have had aloe vera plants, Edith, for maybe it's my first house plant I ever remember having myself
Uh-huh.
since I was in my early 20s.
You're such a gardener to remember your first house plant.
Yeah,
that is
well,
so sweet.
I think houseplants are the gateway drug to gardening. My mom was a big houseplant.
Uh-huh.
I still have some of hers. She had houseplants all over the place. And so I had a little aloe vera plant. And as a result of it, aloe vera plants make babies. And so I would give plants away or make new plants and kind of go through, I'd drag the aloe veras with me whenever I moved and like put them in a moving truck and hope they're going to be okay. And lugged them all the way out here from Minnesota to Colorado, still the basis of the same plant. And I've had 3 now that have gotten pretty big.
Mm-hmm. They're huge.
And I've heard this could happen, but I never knew it could with an aloe vera plant. But one day because the aloe vera plants are right by the TV, and I'm watching TV, and I realize there's something strange happening to my aloe vera plant. There's a really high stem that's coming out of it, and my aloe vera plant bloomed.
Oh my gosh.
And it doesn't happen every year. It didn't happen this year, but it happened maybe like every other year now.
Wow.
In the past 5 years, they will bloom, and it doesn't last very long. And I'm going to be honest with you, Edith. It's not the most beautiful flower. It's not like this big orchid is all of a sudden in the middle. It's kind of it's yellow. I don't know. Maybe it looks like a sad lupin. Maybe.
You're making your aloe feel very bad right now.
But you know what? I'm still so happy with it. I'm still so ecstatic that my aloe vera bloomed. It's one of my favorite surprises.
That's a great surprise. Yeah. I've never seen one bloom either. You know, one of my surprises is the viability of seeds, the long shelf life that they have. Because the seed company will tell you the last day they can sell it is December 30th of 2022.
Yeah.
Don't throw seeds away, folks. It's just like food. Most food really you can have past the expiration date.
Yeah, just because it'll say best used by.
Yeah,
right?
That's just so random. You know, if they can have that seed bank, I think in Norway, we talked about in one of our early, well, then obviously they have a long shelf life.
That's a really good point.
Or they would not be able to have that.
Yeah.
For our future. So do not throw seeds away. You can test them on a wet napkin.
Wet paper towel.
Yeah, or plant them. They don't come up, plant more so thickly. If you have an expired, I would say by more than 3 or 4 years, still good, but sow a little thicker.
So thicker.
You know what else is surprising to me?
What, Edith?
The difference between the water that comes out of your tap and rainfall.
Oh.
Because when every day I water from our Denver city water, but when it rains, sometimes I swear the plants grow by 50% the next day.
I noticed that when we had that snow, it was really just a couple weeks ago, wasn't it, Edith? We had that snow, and I was at your house, and you had all these tubs and buckets full of your rainwater.
Yeah. So I try to collect as much as I possibly can because it's almost like a miracle compared to, because of the chlorine and stuff. There's a lot of stuff in our water.
Yeah.
That I don't think plants love.
And when's the last time it rained? I think it was that snow.
Gosh, we had one rain since then. One really good rain.
Yeah, it's been over 3 weeks, hasn't it?
I don't know. I'm scared to count. Actually.
Yeah. It's gonna be. Yeah, that is a nice surprise about rain.
Yeah, that was really
And
cool.
isn't it funny how, like, here we are in the West and all we want to do is rain. And then you hear the stories about, like, what's happening, or Yellowstone with that snowpack, or like other places that get too much rain.
Yeah.
I wish there was a way that they could collect it and give it to us.
Yeah. Me too, Christy. But you know what they say? If wishes were fishes, then beggars would ride. That's not right. Wait.
I got my things mixed up. Okay.
The garden is known as a place of beauty, serenity, and contemplation. It gets you away from the stress of everyday life
I'll just sit under this peach tree.
and lets your mind relax and go somewhere far away from the clang and clatter of modern life. Grounded in a long tradition, the garden is also a holistic art form for discovery and innovation. Now at peace with your surroundings.
Those squirrels are eating my tomatoes! Get out, go, scram, and don't come back. Now, where was I?
Let the sounds and smells of nature take you to enchantment.
No! It's my awful neighbor McDougal. Damn him and his leaf blower. Oh, look, a butterfly and a dragonfly. He blew them into my yard, and now I have birds drinking in the fountain. Ah. Ow! What was that? A peach! My first peach of the season! Oh, that is so good.
Yes, there are pitfalls in the garden, as in life. But if there's a peach at the end of it, doesn't it even out? Grow something. It is so worthwhile.
Well, that was a great pod play to lead us into frustrations in the garden.
That's right, yeah. Because you will have some, of course you will.
Yeah, absolutely. It happens. I think one of the things that people get the most frustrated about, or something that I get frustrated about, is weeds.
Oh, man. They seem to have seasons. Like, I got rid of all of my thistle. Now there's purslane, which is edible, but it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Absolutely everywhere.
For me, the weed, even more than bindweed, that frustrates me the most is quackgrass.
Oh, you hate that quackgrass so much.
Which is different than crabgrass. Because that crabgrass is an annual and it comes and goes. Quackgrass is a perennial. And if you don't get that entire little rhizome that grows underneath, it's just going to come back. Yeah. And it has a tendency like to go inside the plants. And so I have to pull it out of the Jupiter spirit. It gets in the lawn. It's very frustrating.
It's a very smart little weed, isn't it?
Yeah. But there are some things to help weeds tamp down. I mean, friends, you make sure you mulch. Mulch will keep weeds down. It's always good. We tell people we don't till our vegetable gardens,
right?
Because you're just waking up old seed.
And the other thing about mulching is sometimes you end up mulching the weeds. You know what I mean? Like mulching won't keep every weed out of there,
right?
So,
but it does make makes it looser. It makes it easier.
It makes it so much easier to pull because it doesn't get so dry.
Yeah,
exactly.
I got a new hoe that helps. That's right. Oh, I should have done an alert. Hoe joke.
Sorry.
There's no joke like a hoe joke, Edith, right?
Just hit me that way. Okay,
I know.
So you got a new hoe.
I got a new hoe, which helps a lot in keeping things weeding. If the ground is wet, friends, you should pull them. But if your ground is dry, a hoe can work really well. I got one of those ones that's really super. It has like a circle. And it has a real sharp edge to it, so I can get in on it. They'll come back, but at least they're easy to get rid of.
Don't let them go to seed. Yeah. Number one rule for weeds: do not let them go to seed.
Do you ever use preen to get rid of weeds?
No.
That's a corn gluten meal. I use that. That works well. And we've talked about other things like vinegar, hot water.
Yeah. The agricultural vinegar.
Yes, but even I've even heard people use many applications of household vinegar.
Also, it works really well if you do it at the height of the sun.
Oh, right.
They will fry the leaves.
Yeah.
And that's one of the ways that they work.
Yeah. Try organic methods is what we encourage, because you don't want that stuff getting into the groundwater.
No.
Or you can also hurt your other plants too.
Or it gets into your food. It'll get into your food.
Yeah. Ew.
That's why we grow our own.
What frustrates you, Edith, in the garden?
Japanese beetles.
Oh my God, I know.
So frustrating.
And it's almost time for them.
Yep, it's almost time. You have to understand, folks, that they have traveled east. We never had. When I first came to Denver, bugs did not overwinter. I mean, everything has changed now, and it will continue to change with climate change.
Such a good point.
So,
how could it's such a pretty little bug?
Yes, I agree.
And yet it's so frustrating. It's fun to kill them.
Well, but you're bloodthirsty, Christy.
I am.
I weep when I kill them.
Right.
Because I'm Buddhist-like.
Well, and people have said about Japanese beetles, people get those traps.
Yeah.
And of course, what we recommend is you buy one of those traps and then give it to your neighbor down the street.
Yeah.
Because it just is going to attract bugs to them.
That's how they work. They attract bugs.
Why would you do that?
Why would you attract them just to kill them?
Yeah, I heard the traps are good in new areas. But once the beetles are established over a wide area, the traps don't do anything.
No.
So we hand pick them and we drown them in soap. It's kind of funny what they do is that if you touch them, they kind of faint. Yeah, don't they?
do.
They kind of faint. And then you can just put them in soapy water and then you can watch them drown. People also do row covers for vegetables. I've seen people do
Oh,
that.
Yeah.
But you can't cover up your whole yard, for goodness sake.
No.
I've done milky spore before. Do not know if it works or not. Oh, but Edith, you know what I did this week, though?
No, I don't.
Okay. There's two kinds of products you can buy for Japanese beetles.
Yeah.
One is called Grub Gone, and one is called Grub Be Gone.
Uh-huh.
Grub Be Gone is a pesticide, but Grub Gone is organic.
Oh, okay.
And I bought Grub Gone. I got a big bag of it. I think it was like $80. They delivered it for free, and half the bag did my whole lawn.
Well,
and
we'll
I laid
see
it
what
down.
happened. No, so when did this happen?
I did it was it like a week ago?
So you're saying that right now the Japanese beetle are grubs.
They're grubs.
And
Yeah.
this hopefully will kill the grubs. Oh, I
Yes.
cannot wait to see if it works.
Yeah. So fingers crossed.
Good. You know what really frustrated me as well? When I went the maggots in my bokashi experiment.
You know, Edith, maggots are frustrating.
They really are. I mean, they're vital and all that. We know they have a purpose, but that was so gross. And it's a smell I will never forget. There were thousands of them.
Oh man.
Yeah. So
You're not doing that experiment anymore, are you?
I am not. No, thank you. But I have to say, you know, where I dug it into the ground, the soil does seem to be fabulous.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So,
What did you do with all the maggots? Did you
oh, maggots. I emptied them into the garbage and then I tried to drown them. And then I had a huge garbage thing with the maggots crawling up the sides. And I realized, well, I don't have that much water. I'm not going to waste this much water. So I dumped them down the alley. And some of them were still living. And some of them fried. It was awful.
Okay.
It was a nightmare.
Oh.
Nightmare.
Oh.
Yeah.
I find that powdery mildew can be very frustrating in the garden.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And friends, this can happen on your veggies or on your flowers, but it just looks like something like flour or
Like a
baby
dusting
powder
of
has
flour,
has been dusted on your plants.
We should tell people that it's probably going to happen. So don't feel bad.
That's a really good point, Edith.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to happen. So what?
Especially more on the East Coast when there's more humidity.
Yes.
I get it on my squash plants. I get it on my cucumbers. I'll get it on my zucchini. And then for the flowers, I would get it on my black-eyed Susans a lot.
Oh.
They're very susceptible to that. And but I do like that we have there's a spray that we have this on our website that you could use baking soda. It's very effective against powdery mildew. 1 tablespoon of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of a liquid soap, like a Castile soap.
Like a nice clean soap, yeah.
And 1 gallon of water, and you spray it liberally on your plants. You want to do it before you get the powdery mildew.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always making note of myself, like this is one of my 4th of July things to start doing.
Good. That's really good.
And then I've also heard that mouthwash works.
Oh, wow. That's weird.
And remember we talked about milk working on powdery mildew.
That's right.
Like if you water it down, I think the ratio might be 1-to-1.
Yeah.
Does that seem right? And you put it in a thing and you spray. I don't know why milk, but there must be
I
something
don't either.
in it. And of course, you can get an organic fungicide.
Yeah.
Just look at your labels. And
Yeah.
make sure it says.
Just even sometimes don't feel bad.
Yeah, don't feel bad.
Yeah.
But it is good to deal with it though, because if the leaves die, the leaves will can protect your cucumbers from heat.
Right.
So
yeah. You know what I have a frustration that will never go away because of what I planted my peach tree in such a way that I was hoping the squirrels could not leap to it from any structure, any roof. And I also planted it so that the sun going down, I get that hot western, that it would shade me. But what I didn't account for is I have a security motion light right there, right on the eave where the tree is. So the tree, when it's windy and it goes back and forth, it's like I'm being invaded all night long. Yeah.
So then you have to turn your security light off.
I don't
and
know
then,
how to do that. No, there's no turning it off. It
okay.
Yeah, it just comes on. So.
And does it wake you up?
No, it does
Okay.
not. So it's just a light frustration of I thought of everything.
You might have a neighbor who just is constantly bothered by that light, and it's just like tortured.
Yes. Luckily, my neighbors are kind and wonderful.
Luckily,
Yeah.
I live 3 blocks away.
And you live 3 blocks away. Yes.
Well, things can frustrate us, that's sure. Unpredictable weather can be frustrating.
Because it'll make your broccoli go straight to seed, for
Yep.
example, when it's too hot too
Yeah.
soon. That's happened to me more than once.
Hail in our neck of the woods.
Okay, which is the worst because you
Yeah.
have this whole beautiful garden and July comes and so do the hailstorms.
Yeah.
And it can literally devastate your garden.
Yeah. I think the best cure for that type of frustration is just to have a mental shift.
That's that's good.
Because there's
Christy.
nothing you can
Yeah.
do about it.
Have a mental shift.
And
Yep.
I've seen hail. I've seen hail go, and I thought, I've lost my whole garden. And you know what? Things, they do come back.
Yeah, they do.
And even look at that. We were so frustrated about that snow we had, right? And I thought, there go all the iris.
Yeah.
It was a really good iris year.
Yeah.
The iris had snow all over it, and bless their little hearts, they still lived.
So a lot of things, in other words, are a mixed blessing.
Yeah,
right? But if
that's
you
right.
have a garden, you are blessed right there.
Amen, amen. Hey, Edith,
Christy, what?
guess what time it is?
I don't know.
If only Big Ben was here so that we could know.
I'll bet you it's mailbag time.
Ring, ring.
Ring, ring. Christy, our letter this week is from Bob, who lives in NYC,
Okay.
New York City.
New York City.
Oh, I'm reading it. Sorry. Folks, I'm so tired. Okay. Wishes, fishes, who knows? So from Bob, dear Upside Down Tulips. So here's a query for Upside Down Tulips. I want to know the best flowering plants for cemetery lots. Plants that can withstand being unattended. What do you think? So New York, what do you think?
That's nice. And we like that. This Bob's written to us before about his sense of, he had a plant.
Sansevieria, he did. He had a plant that he was trying to keep alive because it was given to him by a dear, dear friend.
Oh, yeah. We didn't help him much though, did we? Well, maybe we can help you on this one, Bob.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, Edith, that people have been leaving flowers on graves for thousands of years.
Wow.
It started off with the ancient Greeks. They did that to honor fallen warriors. And they believed that if the flowers rooted in the ground and grew from the gravesite, it was a sign that the fallen had found peace.
Oh, wow. That's wonderful. Wow.
And then, of course, it was also done in the United States on Decoration Day, which was started 3 years after the Civil War, a chance to decorate the graves of the soldiers with flowers. And that has become Memorial Day.
Right. So I know Bob, he loves cemeteries. So he will notice that's why it's a cemetery question.
Well, and we had something about how cemeteries are actually now growing vegetable gardens now too.
Oh, wow.
Remember we talked about that?
Yes.
It's okay if you forgot.
Yeah, I did. Sorry.
It's okay.
Well, I have a blank look on my face.
Here are some things about flowers that you can put on cemeteries. And, cemeteries will have their own rules about things. And if you put a vase of flowers in water, if you're lucky, it'll last a week.
Right.
Or if you have a pot, maybe it'll last a couple of weeks. And usually they'll come and they just scoop those away.
But
if you want something to plant in it, what my research has said is you should be careful about the kind of soil because the soil in cemeteries is going to be pretty poor.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know if that makes sense or not because I thought, well, there's a lot of great...
Yeah, but they're in a coffin.
Right.
They're in a coffin so they can't fertilize.
Oh, gotcha. Thank you.
That's what it is. Maybe, would you think that marigolds would be a good one to plant?
It would, but just make sure you improve the soil.
Okay.
Yeah, marigolds would be great.
Okay.
Yeah. I also think a bulb plants would be really good, Edith.
They
like
would,
iris.
Oh, yeah.
Iris, like we just said, like I just put iris on the ground and it took root. So tulips, daffodils, iris could be really pretty.
What about morning glories? They don't mind poor soil.
That's a good point. Right.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah. Vinca would be great.
Oh my gosh, yes. And they flower a little bit.
A little bit. Ornamental grasses would be great. If you wanted different types of textures.
That would look kind of cool. Yeah.
Geraniums can be pretty hardy also.
Depending on your zone. Yeah.
Yes.
They may or may not make it through the winter.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And some people, have you seen this, Edith? They do something called a graveside blanket.
Mm-mm.
That means that the whole circumference of the grave, the whole rectangle, would be a garden.
Oh, that's
and you would plant the
nice.
whole area.
Oh, that's really nice. I like that.
Yeah. I would just say to Bob that if whatever you do is going to need to be watered well for the first couple weeks.
Do the groundskeepers do that? I wonder.
They do that, but I would water extra.
Okay.
To just get something established, and I would mulch a lot.
Yeah.
Give a good couple inches of mulch.
Yeah, that's good advice, Christy. Make use of that cemetery lot.
Yeah. Well, they can be so pretty. I mean, the cemetery down the street from us is so beautiful.
Yeah.
It has a wildlife sanctuary right next to it at Crown Hill Nature Preserve, right? So, yeah. Thanks for your question, Bob. Hope this is helpful. We'd love to see pictures if you plant something. And we want you folks, we want your letters out there.
Yeah. Why don't you send them to us?
If you have a question, if you have a problem, if you have a surprise that you want to celebrate, or a frustration you want to commiserate with us on.
Yeah, we would love to hear from you.
upsidedowntulips@gmail.com.
Christy, did you just feel that? Did you feel that, Christy? A disturbance in the matrix, maybe?
Ooh, I think so.
I think it's time for you to get philosophical.
This week's inspiration comes from Ray Everson, author, gardener, and farmer. He says, "The philosopher who said that work well done never needs doing over never weeded a garden."
I love that. That's fantastic. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. We are Edith Weiss and Christy Montreux Larson.
And if you got some laughs and some value out of this week's episode, could you do us a favor?
You could hit that subscribe, like, or follow button.
And thank you so much to... Is that all you're going to say?
Yep.
That's right. Okay. Thank you so much to Denise Gentilini for composing and performing the Upside Down Tulips theme song.
In fact, we insist that you go to denisegentilini.com, and you can find that link at upsidedowntulips.com.
Many thanks to the kindness of our talented friends, Josh Hartwell and Jim Hunt.
Thank you to our excellent yet enigmatic engineer.
And a special thanks to our local nursery and friend of the show, I was just there today, Southwest Gardens.
Join us, won't you, in 2 weeks for another episode that will delight, educate, amaze, and make you laugh.
And don't forget, Edith,
what?
If you make a mistake,
your garden will forgive you.
Upside down